Thanks all for to be here with us today. I would like to start this session by asking each of you to give a quick introduction of your responsibility and position so that the audience gets more familiar with what you will be talking about later. Yogesh, you can start.
Thank you. Good evening and good morning. I met some people who I've worked with a long time ago, so very happy to be here. And I think I have some relevant experience which I can share today from different countries, different evolution. We're talking G after G, so I think we'll be there. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
So good morning to everyone. My name is Jan, CTO at the Czech Republic, and especially in relation with this topic of fixed wireless access, there is a couple of guys sitting over here that were part of the team that launched the first serious fixed wireless access offering in Czech Republic 6 or 7 years ago, back in 2017. So really, this is a topic of my heart. So looking forward to the discussion.
My name is Sergej Berichaj, and I'm the CTO of United Cloud, which is a research and development innovation arm of United Group, which is, let's say, the largest telco in the SE region.
So thank you all. So I would like to kick off with a question around the state of fixed wireless access, generally speaking. So maybe we can start with Jan, because you just mentioned the fact that fixed wireless dates from actually back before 5G was there. So what did that look like before 5G was introduced?
Okay, so very briefly, we went through 3 generations already. So we started with the first service based on country-wide coverage of LTE in that time using low and middle bands. So available for everyone as a complement to DSL that is not covering all the households in Czechia. And actually, if I do one small step back, for us, and I believe for everyone, fixed wireless access as a complement to wireline service is essential, especially in the time when the core of the mass market offering is built around bundling. So we have bundle proposition consisting of fixed internet as an anchor service, then mobile tariff plans and digital TV. So you basically need to have 100% addresses covered within your territory to be able to provide the bundle offering. So that was the reason why we started, to be able to offer to 100% customers fixed broadband service. Then with the evolution of 4G to what was at that time called 4G or LTE Plus, introduced C-band spectrum with LTE in that time. The second generation was built around dedicated coverage, especially for FBB wireless. And then the third generation actually is 5G. Now. And the main difference is, if I compare very briefly, what 5G is bringing is first, much better features that are allowing de-indoor use cases, which means simple CPE that customer can do self-install within the indoor without technician coming, without drilling through the wall and all this stuff. That is just decreasing the success rate of the installation. So this is basically the main contribution, and also this is something that was core of the success of the first service that we launched on an existing LTE coverage. That first you have the coverage prepared for mobile broadband service. You are basically everywhere, and then you can start selling fixed wireless access. So the availability of the coverage is countrywide. So it's very easy to marketing very easy to provide the service to everyone without complex calculations of accessibility, availability, radio planning, and this kind of stuff that is complicating the installation success.
Okay, thank you. Yogesh, can you enlighten us a little bit about what Tele2 has been doing for fixed wireless and how 5G is also changing the nature of the service?
Thank you. No, I totally agree. I think different countries in different ways, you showed amazing statistics. But I would like to take the conversation to a little bit different level. During COVID, we realized household is key. It is not only key for doing work from home, but it's actually key for education. So household needs to be connected to broadband. Broadband which can be 1G to 10G. But household needs to have uninterrupted connection. And how do we become reliable in that connection is the journey Tele2 we are on. And we want to be the best connectivity on 5G, absolutely no doubt. We share our networks, so our costs are much lower. We want to be extremely connected with the fiber to the building, if possible, fiber to the outlet, depending upon the construction of the building. And that is the way we are thinking. So we are actually elevating this to 2-3 more level to say that why don't we look at a household? Because now the customer is not a single customer. Customer is family. And how do we manage that convergence of the customer from a mobile fixed TV to a family, yet being individual with the data protection which we need to get?
Sergey, can you tell us about United and what kind of services you operate on fixed wireless, and when did you first introduce 5G? How did that change the portfolio of your offers?
So I have to agree with Jan. So basically, you need to be discovery before you can start deploying fixed wireless access. And for 5G FWA, we are currently offering this in Bulgaria. And we have started in Giga Connect. We have started with the commercial offering of 5G fixed wireless access, I think 2 months ago. In other countries, we are still in the pre-rollout phases, but we expect to be rolling out 5G FWA soon in Slovenia and Croatia. And so for us, 5G fixed wireless access so 5G as a technology has really been the differentiator where we can offer, the entire set of services, right? We've been speaking about bundles, and if we want to offer our EON TV service with the best customer experience possible, we also need to have good infrastructure, and 5G has enabled us, really to offer this to our users also over the, let's say, not over the cable, so to speak, right? So it's very, very exciting for us, but like I said, this is, in United Group, this is in early stages of customer adoption, but we hope to, scale this up in the future months.
Can I add something? I think fiber is key. And we should not worry about technology, FWA, 5G. There'll be 6G already in production, 5G advanced. I think we should talk about customers, we should talk about speeds, we should talk about services, and we should talk about gear. So I think we need to change that equation, because the customer doesn't know FWA. I buy a router, I get a connectivity. But if my country already has 80%, 85% fiber, what else do I need? So I think we need to change that equation. How can we make our customer's life easier?
I agree 100% because, in United Group, there's like you mentioned, it's a very fragmented, Europe is a very fragmented market, from technology standpoint, etc. So, United Group through recent acquisitions basically has all access technologies, right? From cable to DSL, VDSL, PON, internet, you name it, basically. And the customer should care about this, right? The customer should just care about getting the best
They usually don't also.
They don't. I mean, and it's absolutely right for them not to care, right? What they want is the best possible services and the most affordable possible price, right? And with 5G FWA, I think we have managed to encircle basically every technology and have now the possibility to address every customer. Right?
So if we consider this aspect that the customers don't need to know about their end access, what are the use cases for which you would use 5G or for which you would push 5G fixed services to a specific tier of your customers because it makes more sense for them? Is it just based on location, on availability of access, or?
For us, it's primarily based on location. Yeah. So second homes, weekend homes, etc., where there is no wide connectivity. We aim to then address that over 5G. Right? And of course, if you look at Greece, we have pledged to invest, I think, in the next years more than 2 billion euros in building out the infrastructure. But unfortunately, you cannot change geography of the country, right? So we have to work around everything as best as we can.
Yeah.
So agree completely that customer does not care about the technology. He just needs internet service, and it's up to us to provide the best one for the location. In case of Czechia, very specific situation you presented. Yeah, with fiber, if you take really like true GPON service, it's like 20-something% only household pass. A little bit more if we include like cable also into the game, but still like we are copper stronghold. And with the copper we can cover something like 60% households with a reasonable speed, which means like 100 megabits per second plus. So the rest, like the 40%, is left to fixed wireless access. And this is actually how we do. So we even do not let customer or even the salesperson to select the technology. We have this calculated in the system for each and every address when we recommend the technology. Of course, priority goes from fiber. This is the top one. Then DSL if there is no fiber, and then fixed wireless access if there is not even DSL available. And you cannot like choose. This is given by the system.
Yogesh? What's the context?
That's amazing. In Tele2, our value is, we have 3 values, corporate values we believe in. Reliable, insight-driven, and collaborative. So I think this insight is really good, that how you position. But what 5G does give is immersion of data speeds and square kilometer device radius, which is unheard of. So IoT becomes much more interesting. Private networks become much more interesting. Optional connectivity becomes interesting. And I think the latency, and for us, what is most important is sustainability. Is it long-term sustainable, not like a short run? So what I like is when you say fiber, ADSL, FWA, I think I can follow that logic. It's not overcoming a problem by putting FWA and lacking more customers with speed, latency, and carbon. So I think that's the way to think. It's a little bit different, yeah. Very good.
Now I would like to put the discussion in a different angle and look at the strategies of telcos and why and how they deploy 5G, because as you all mentioned, you have already a lot of different technological access in your portfolio. So the first question would be, what are the criteria that you need to look at to roll out 5G fixed wireless into different areas? And maybe we can start with Jan. Like, what are the technological pinpoints that you need to have to be able to deploy 5G fixed wireless?
I will start a little bit back in 4G. So we made a huge lesson there that we, in our second generation of fixed wireless access, what we tried really was to build a dedicated network fixed for fixed wireless access only. And this is very, 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 very difficult. Which means that you need to plan in advance, you need to predict demand, you need to do like proper radio planning, then you build and invest into the coverage, and then you start selling and start calculating how the business case is gonna fulfill. Very demanding. So now we do differently with 5G, because this actually, it did work, but it did not work that well that we expected actually with 4G. So what we are doing now that we are starting with mobile broadband use case first. So we only build like extra capacity in, especially in C-band in 3.4 to 3.8 gigahertz frequency, only in case that we see the demand for mobile broadband, which means like high density areas, urban areas, etc. And once we have the coverage, we start selling fixed wireless access as well. And depending on what capacity in the network we have there, we can offer different tiers or tariff plans. So if this is only like countryside, having only middle band deployed with a limited capacity, we only offer like 50 or 100 megabits per second. If this is like urban center, we can offer 250 megabits per second on fixed wireless access as well, on C-band. And once we see that the demand is going in a specific area, we go for upgrades, which is very safe, because first we have like MPP use case, so mobile services are driving the coverage and the planning actually of the rollout. And then once we see the demand and we already have the customer base there generating certain revenue within the area, we only in this case go and increase the capacity for fixed wireless access, which is basically already paid by customers existing there.
Maybe Yogesh, you can tell us also what's the context in a market where, as you mentioned already, more than 80% of households are connected to fiber. So why would you need 5G fixed wireless, and where would you put it actually?
Yeah, and we have two contexts. We have Sweden and we have Baltics. And we have the Nordics for IoT and Europe for IoT too. And for us in Sweden, what matters is exactly what you said, 3.5 everywhere, as much as we can do. So densification and deepest 5G is what counts for us. The latency needs to be the lowest, speeds need to be the highest, density needs to be very deep, including our private enterprises. Carbon emission should be the lowest. So we want to achieve network circular economy by 2025.
Which is going to be quite impressive if you can manage.
No, and we are determined. We are on the way. 35%, and we call that real 5G. I'm not sure it is. It's a real 5G. It's 3.5, 3.6 gigahertz.
25 plus.
So Sergey, you mentioned already that United has a very network agnostic approach when it comes to packaging the offers to the client, so that they choose basically just speed, not necessarily the technological access. But what are the considerations that you need to have from a CTO perspective on where to deploy 5G, and what are the use cases that you can think of, like already for Bulgaria, and that you expect for the other Balkan markets?
So, fortunately for me, being the CTO of the research and development arm, it's not my headache, right, on where to deploy 5G. It's
just thinking of
it's
what's
the
coming
headache of the
for us.
CTOs of the autos. But ultimately, air, unfortunately, is a shared medium, however you want to turn it, right? So I think that, with, we primarily want to focus, on wired connectivity, because of, you will inevitably, achieve greater stability, faster speed, lower latencies, etc., over PON. This is a fact, right? So we really want to just, achieve maximum coverage on where this possibility is not on the table, right? And perhaps, interestingly, when you were speaking about priorities, you said, if I remember correctly, you said on DSL 5G, right? We reversed, right? So we are currently in, we think that, particularly in Greece, we think that 5G is going to present as a better alternative to DSL in that country. But from my perspective, let's say from perspective of unification of services across all access technologies, if I can touch upon my headache, right? We really wish to offer, like you said, the exact same offering regardless of the access technology. But this is not just speeds and TV offerings, etc., etc. This is also, more intelligent services on the broadband CPEs as well, right? We're going to be talking about this tomorrow on the panel for the broadband CPEs. It's, I think, at the same time. But what we're doing currently is we are really invested into aligning the stack and the operating system and the stack on all CPs, on all access technologies, right? Because we deeply believe that this is the way forward. We cannot have, we cannot have any lock-ins, right? For us, it's very important that we can move quickly. And if we, for instance, we have deployed a service which is running on the CPs, which takes care of security, parental control, etc. It identifies the devices, and then you can through an app, right? You can define the rules on which device has access to which functionality, etc. And because this is something that has to be deployed on the CP itself, we wish to have a system where we develop once and deploy everywhere, right? And we are deeply committed to this cause, and I'm really looking forward to what the next few years will bring, because I think that in the next few years we will be able to achieve this goal that we set for ourselves.
It's also a goal you have across all the different services, like media as well, and TV as well, like equipment. It's very interesting to see how it's going to unify this across multiple territories. I had a question now rather about the financial implications. So when telcos have to choose between deploying wireline and wireless, of course there are finances and investment calculations that you need to make. What are the capex issues that you might encounter when you have to deploy 5G? Or what are the basically where is the balance where you actually go rather for wireline? What are the different market cases that you have in mind? Maybe Jan, if you want to start.
Yeah, I can start. So this is actually the same like order of priority as I mentioned with the like offering for the customer. So fiber comes first, and we are calculating like business cases for the fiber. And what I'm now doing, because probably some of you know that we are only like service provider or operator, and we have the sister company called ZTE that is providing the infrastructure. But I'm now speaking of like both of us being part of PPF Telco group. So first we go and calculate the business case for fiber, and we have certain limits for payback or whatever, IRR and this kind of financial stuff. This is covering certain percentage of households passed, especially in Czech Republic, same situation as in Germany. Very, very, very costly to get household pass with all the permissions on the way and with all the complications in the actually legislation that is like forcing us to do everything underground and this kind of stuff.
Digging through very old paved streets also.
Yeah. So this comes first, and then in the remaining areas we start like with selling, as I described. And once we see that there is a demand, we are investing into additional capacity of the mobile network to be able to provide like more customers with better services. And the economics is like perfect complementary. For fiber, you need to plan correctly. There is like a long payback, and usually the break-even penetration is something like 30–40% of household passed needs to be connected to come to break-even. With the mobile, it's like the opposite. Yeah? So you start selling, you have the capacity at the beginning usually, because now we have like 5G network, which is almost, or not almost empty, but very, the traffic is limited in, compared to the capacity that we have, especially with the C-band spectrum. So we start selling, and you know that you are covering something like 2,000, 2,500 households within the reach of the base station. And you cannot usually overachieve like 10% penetration, because then you do not have enough spectrum. Yes, as you said, the area is limited and is shared for everyone. So it's completely the opposite. Yeah? You only can reach a certain penetration of fixed wireless access, and then you need to build sort of like infill sites or whatever, which is then completely different exercise. So we are trying just to combine those two approaches, starting with fiber, rolling out 5G for mobile broadband use case as a first, and then adding capacity when needed for FWA.
Okay. Sergey, what are the challenges, like financially speaking, behind the choice of wireless or wireless?
challenges, for mass adoption. So the pricing of the CPs, of the 5G CPs, especially with the outside antenna, is much more expensive than traditional, let's say, WAR CPs. So we have to basically take all the factors into account and plan for this.
Who is supporting the cost of installation? Is it something that the customers have to pay for, or is it something that you want to make sort of transparent in your offer?
To be completely honest, I don't know.
Like if it's only launched in one market,
Yeah.
I guess it's
I have to check. I think that there is no cost to the customer, but I cannot. I cannot be 100%.
And Yogesh, what's the case for TV2?
No, I think we are on a different kind of journey. Our journey is circular economy, means full 5G, deepest 5G, shared 5G. So our costs are much lower per gigabyte because we share the network throughout the country, including the spectrum. So that's number one. Number two, we see user and consumer. So you are a consumer and the investment need to go into IT because actually the customer care, IT system, provisioning and the deep layer of 5G plus fiber is going to make that household amazingly interesting. And the more we can solve the customer's problems quickly and more the customer can solve the problem quickly and digital comes in the middle, which means how can we complete the journeys 100% digital. You do not need to contact us and you'll be satisfied. Your checkout will be very easy. So I think that is the way we are thinking because at the end of the day, we really have an aspiration to lead in decarbonization and sustainability. That's where we are.
Now I would like to ask first maybe about 5G interwaves because you mentioned that the pressure that 5G fixed wireless services put on the mobile core network is actually still quite strong. Is it something that prevents wider adoption for 5G FWA, and could 5G millimeter waves help with that actually in the future?
No, definitely this is like a relevant topic. We actually have on a few places here in Prague the VOC deployed for millimeter waves, so we are playing with it. Unfortunately, we see the bottleneck currently with the availability of like hardware or CPs. So the market is taking up like a little bit slower than we expected. But we see two major use cases. First one definitely is wireless access. This is what we are speaking of. And especially if you go with the 5G penetration to like single dwelling units to family houses, it is very hard to reach like 100% how fast. Usually you get only like 5 or 10 fans and you have a best dispute with the owner of the property to go and trenching through the beautiful garden. And for these cases we believe that like the wireless last mile provided by user waves can be really like improve the overall like business case and do the combination of like fiber cloud, utilizing the fiber network that is already available on the street level, and in a specific last miles utilizing the user waves. The second use case, which also makes sense, but we do not see the urgency at least during GDPR now, is to cover like the super high dense areas, like railway station and so on, malls and this type of stuff. So this is something that we are investigating. We are playing with it. One of those is that that part of OPF also is investment in the arena universe as a venue for
not pertaining to FWA, right? This is more, end user devices, cell phones, etc.
Now I would like to...
I have something on millimeter wave, because it can be used in different cases. In our case, we are moving to Industry 4.0, because Sweden is very heavy in industrial revolution. How can we make that industry better, removing Wi-Fi spots? How do we put that from macro to millimeter? A good combination. How can we make that industry better? I think that is the way we need to start thinking. So that's where we are.
Yeah, but technologically, I think that from my perspective, and I may be completely way of place here, but there will be, the Wi-Fi going to 7, right? It's going to be very similar technologically, so it's going to be perhaps solved through Wi-Fi 7 as well, right?
I think perhaps is a good word, but going into actual, just to let you know, 50 Wi-Fi spots versus 2 good sites can mean a lot of less management for the industrial enterprise.
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, that's why we are utilizing this also as some sort of marketing message. We say that 5G is here for businesses, Wi-Fi is only for households.
I wanted now to take a wider overview. You mentioned already that all of you are convergent telco, that you also offer multi-services, so also TV, video, OTT services. In the context of multi-services, how do you make sure that 5G enables you to offer your whole line of product in the same way to every customer, and to have a seamless experience, whether you're on fixed wireless or on fiber, and what are the challenges that you may face between those? Maybe Yogesh, if you want to start.
I would love to talk, because for us, first screen is the phone. Everyone has this. How can we make sure that is seamless with the fiber, with the TV, with the deep linking and provisioning? So 5G helps a lot, because the speeds which we get once you move from home outside are really good with 3.5, 3.6. And I think that is the way we are thinking. How can we give seamless connectivity across the area where the customer travels?
Yeah. How does that work for O2?
So a couple of things. So what we really see in 5G is many features that are helping us to provide better quality service to the customer, which is mainly how it works with the carrier aggregation and also dual connectivity of 4G and 5G all together, which means that especially for fixed wireless access, changing radio conditions for the indoor use case with having CPs right in the middle of the flat, in the middle of the building. Then if we are able to utilize full spectrum, all the bands, all the carriers, and some of them experiencing sort of performance programs or whatever, CP still can live if you remain in spectrum, and the service stays uninterrupted for the customer. So this is one of the aspects that 5G compared to 4G is providing more means to, let's say, get to a higher level of quality. On top of this, what we are doing, that we are running in all the new devices, phones, wireless and wireline CPEs, we have piece of software that measures on a regular basis the quality of the service. So at least once a week we are running this task, and we are monitoring this through our node. And if there is any sort of anomaly, then we see the service is degrading or speed is degrading or the other parameters. So we are triggering proactive action to check what's happening there, to actually act before the customer even notices that there is something wrong with the service. And the last one for us is important to, because one of the key products, and this is basically the most sexy product, because it is built around the content, which is digital TV. Internet is a commodity, mobile service is a commodity, TV not, sort of love brand. So we are really taking care how to provide a seamless experience and the same level of experience on fiber as well as on fixed wireless access. And we already have something like 25% of our fixed broadband base is only running on fixed wireless access. So it's important, and every second line is like running TV service. So for us, it's really important. So we plan with like WAS policies, and this is also part of the regular proactive monitoring and this kind of stuff. So far is working. So we are not limiting in any sense availability of TV service over fixed wireless access, but it needs to take some preventive activities and implement monitoring on the background.
I have to say the first point you made is absolutely resonant. 700, 800, 900, 1.8, 2.1, 2.3, 3.5, other spectrums coming, carrier aggregation, and to look at that stack and make it energy efficient is extremely key. Because then you can use, it's agnostic. You can use aggregation, but the carbon emission needs to be extremely low.
I wanted to ask also Saito around the same question, because you mentioned earlier the service on TV that also needs to be supported across all accesses. What are the feedback so far from the launch in Bulgaria around 5G? Is it enough to support this?
Yes, we have done extensive testing. That's why we have launched in March, not much earlier. But you know, to just touch upon the user experience here, right? And this perhaps does not have so much to do with 5G as a technology, but perhaps more of a way of thinking. The way that we have increased and you know the user experience in United Group is we have done something that is perhaps not quite traditional, you know, and more in line with much bigger operations than ourselves. What we've done is for Eon TV, we have developed it end-to-end in-house. Okay, so from transcoding, streaming, set-top boxes, all applications, iOS, Android, you know, the entire end-to-end solution is developed in-house, which basically means that we are very quick on our feet in identifying the UX issues. We are optimizing the service day and night, you know. And what we're doing here is, you know, by having everything in-house, right, we are really very focused on providing the best possible user experience, again, regarding of the access technology. The nice consequence of this is that the service also works well on 5G, right? And to touch upon Jan's point of continuously monitoring, you know, either the home gateways or the broadband CPs or the video CPs. You know, what we have also done is so our set-top boxes are based on Google's Android TV, and you know, each and every one of our set-top boxes serves as a probe where we are continuously gathering and monitoring data, and we are also doing this on the broadband CP side, you know, by aligning the software stack. We also see this as a way to continuously get a feedback loop from all the access technologies all the time, and I think that this is a very important point that Jan has said. You have to fix the problem before the user notices it. This is very important.
Yeah, I have something to add. I think TV, every group has. United, you have your TV, I think you have your TV. We have our TV. TV engineering, TV is good. Deep linking is key because no one has the full content. How can we get deep linking in a seamless way is critical. Beyond the TV engineering, that deep linking with the user experience is what we are focusing on.
I also wanted to ask you, Yogesh, because you mentioned that just before, topic around sustainability. How do we make sure that operators are actually building a 5G offer that meets the requirements of sustainable, carbon neutral, as much as we can get?
Yeah, I think sustainability for us in Tele2 is critical. We want to lead in sustainability. And then before we go to carbon, we start with the people, diversity, inclusion, critical. How do we make sure that we buy right things? Clean energy, green energy. How can we make sure that our energy consumption is AI driven? How can we make sure that on top of that, we are actually bringing sustainability to the enterprises? And then on top of that, how can we make our consumers also realize that recycling, reuse, replenish is an important thing. So we have taken an ambition that we will be network circular neutral by 2025. We have taken an ambition based on science-based targets to look forward. And that is really motivating. Because actually the more you think about it, more sustainable you are, more financially satisfied.
Turn up the lights at home. All right, now if we go towards the customer experience and if we focus more on the commercial aspects, I wanted to ask maybe Jan, for a starter, what are good practices in terms of customer acquisition when we talk about the specific fixed wireless access? Are there specific strategies that you implement to gain a larger footprint of this solution?
Nice question. So, our experience is that internet is mainly like driven service. Yeah. So we are trying both to do the like push campaign and to create a demand and increase the sales, which only works to some limited extent. Internet is pure service. Unlike some of the others, TV is different. But couple of learnings around FWA. Definitely what matters in the like installation funnel and the success rate of the installation of end-to-end from the first intention to the service running. Crucial thing is to be able to provide like indoor based CPE, which we mentioned already. I think all of us having the experience, which is like demanding on the technology side actually, because you have like various radio conditions inside everything. But from the customer perspective, it's a really beautiful service. You go to the shop, you buy the CPE, the modem, you take it home, you turn it on, and in 2 minutes you have the internet running. You never can compete even with fiber with this. Yeah, because for all the wireline services, you need your technician coming, you need to make an appointment. 10% of appointments finally they don't happen because one of the parties is not there. So, and you are just multiplying the numbers that are less than one. And as a result, we are at 60, 70, 75% installation success rate. So the self-installation of the indoor unit is like a kind of holy grail for us, and we are really trying to design the service the way that it can run this way. And this is also the reason, for example, this is like more for fun on this, but one of the reasons why we are using the strong prioritization and we are recommending like fiber first and DSL and fixed wireless access. This has also a consequence or the reason for the internal sales stuff. Because if the internal sales guys can select, they will select for fixed wireless access. Because it's sold immediately.
I think Monica would have
Commission goes immediately. No need to plan the visit of the field technician on the place. So you need to manage. So and this is of course for long term for sustainability. Back to the topic previously, fiber much better. Yeah. So we need to push the sales organization to go for the fiber if it's available. Because it's much better from the long term perspective. But from short term, from the customer experience point of view, having the box just turning on, this is the best case.
Is it also something that you saw, Sergey, after just a few months of launch? What are the feedbacks that you got, generally speaking, around installation?
So, because this is a product that was only recently started, the numbers are quite low. But yes, the feedback that we have received from this installation is generally very positive.
That's good. And your question?
I think customer experience convenience is super central. After COVID, household is key. So when you have a trouble, you should be able to respond very fast. So timing, alignment, get started, get completed, upgrade is critical for us. So the way we do is our field engineers have a fixed is fixed, mobile is mobile. So our field engineers are doing both fixed and mobile. And what they do is when they go to a customer, they ask for an appointment and they make sure that they leave a little note saying that we did this job for you. And I think that personal connection at the end of the day in the fixed world really, really matters because it's household. We are not talking about a remote coverage. We are not talking about mobility. We're talking about home.
And providing commodity water for families.
Exactly. It's like water would stop. Where do we go? Electricity. So it's water, electricity, gigabyte. That's the way we see it.
We're touching to the end of the session. I wanted to ask the audience if anyone had specific questions to our speakers before we close, or you can also come up and meet them afterwards. Does anyone have a question?
It seems we covered everything.
Yeah, I guess. Alright, well, then I guess we're fine for this one, and I invite all of you to go for the coffee break if you feel like getting more caffeine in your system. Thank you all for this nice session.